Meet Joe. He's a retired firefighter, grandfather to a beautiful little girl, and he's a patient from my thesis studies. He gave me permission to share with you today his story of recovery after a stroke. For those of you who don't know, stroke is what happens when a blood clot travels to your brain and causes part of your brain to die. The part of the brain that dies is responsible for moving your leg. You end up walking with a limp. And this is what's happening for Joe. He walks with a limp, and on top of that, he actually can't tell where his leg is in space unless he's looking at his leg. So the other day, he was out for a walk with his granddaughter. He stubbed his toe, and he ended up falling and injuring his hip. Now, the reason why this happens is after a stroke like Joe's, it takes time for other sensors in the body to tell the brain that you are indeed falling. This is the reality for about 70% of people after a stroke, where within that first year, they fall at least one time. And for half of those people, they have a really hard time paying attention to those signals coming from the leg. So the question that I have is, would Joe have fallen if he was paying attention to those signals? This is what I'm looking at in my thesis, is how attention and planning interact. And I'm using a technology called electroencephalogram, or EEG, and that's what Joe is wearing in picture A. And with EEG, I can record his brain waves while I ask him to plan a movement, or to pay attention to his leg, or to pay attention to something else, so on and so forth. And I can measure that specific part of his brain waves marked with the red star, so that peak can get bigger or smaller depending on what I ask Joe to do. So far, what I've found for Joe is it takes him a lot longer to plan a movement with his weaker leg. It also takes his brain a lot more effort to really plan that same movement. And on top of that, he has a really hard time paying attention to the signals coming up from his leg. So the next experiment that I'd like to do is to actually see if I can train people like Joe to pay better attention to those signals coming from their leg with practice. So I'd like you to imagine a world with me where after a stroke like Joe, he goes to see his physiotherapist, and she gives him this training. So she trains him how to pay better attention to those signals. I'd like to think that if he gets this training, the next time he goes for a walk and stubs his toe, he may not actually fall, which means he recovers better and faster. And so for Joe, what that means, he can get back to doing what he really loves that much sooner, and that is playing with his granddaughter. I'd like to thank all of you for paying attention.